can you raise unoffendable children in a highly offendable culture? Hi, I'm Avital. Welcome back to Hi Fam. Today, we're talking about becoming unoffendable, especially raising children who are unoffendable. And why would you want to? Well, because children who are highly sensitive and constantly taking offense, feeling hurt and feeling really insulted by the people around them are going to be fragile. They're going to go through life feeling like people are out to get them. They're going to feel hard done by. They're going to develop a victim mindset. And the truth is that that's no way to go through life. We all want our children to have a strong sense of self, confidence, and really meaningful, satisfying, and fulfilling relationships. It's very hard to do that when you're constantly taking offense. So let's talk about the strategies that we can use in order to raise children who have a strong backbone, broad shoulders, and a thick skin. Number one, you've got to become unoffendable yourself. I know this one sucks. As someone who grew up hypersensitive and constantly offended, I know how difficult it is to go from those mindsets to an unoffendable mindset. And this is something that today I coach and teach inside of my Alchemize course and inside of the studio. Make sure to get on the waitlist and check it out at hifam.com/studio. I can teach you how to become unoffendable. But for the purposes of this video, I just want to say why this is so important. If your child grows up seeing a parent who's constantly insulted, feeling hurt, feeling hard done by, feeling like it's not fair, really kind of getting stuck in cognitive fallacies and biases like black and white thinking, personalizing, catastrophizing, all or nothing, minimizing and maximizing, or the unfairness fallacy. Yes, I will explain all of those in another video, so stay tuned. That child is witnessing a parent who is actually building their mental model of how the world works. In other words, our children model off of us. What we do, how we respond to things, our interpretations of certain scenarios, what people say, what people do, is something they're going to learn. Now, your child might have a completely different temperament from you. They might be much less critical. They might be much higher on the positivity scale, much lower on the neuroticism scale, right? They might just be overall a more happy-go-lucky, easygoing kind of person who's not taking offense. And that would be great. Like if our children just have a strong, easygoing temperament, then cool. They're not learning that from us and they are kind of a little bit inoculated or immunized from catching that from us. But for the most part, there's going to be quite a high overlap between the parent and the child. And if the child is constantly seeing the parent getting upset about, road rage and unfair parking, for example, right? Or what the neighbor said, or what the teacher said, or a text message I just got from my mother-in-law, or how she stood, or how she looked, or what he said to me. Or, and this is much worse and much more insidious and much more likely to be happening in your home, the child is witnessing that type of interaction between me and my husband. Right? If I'm constantly taking offense, oh, you were home late, oh, you didn't text me, oh, you didn't get the milk I asked you for, right? If I'm constantly taking offense, if I'm constantly feeling that it's not fair, that I'm a victim, that I'm hard done by, my child is clocking that. And my child is learning through me as the curriculum, because I am the curriculum. How I live my life, how I think, how I behave, what I say is the curriculum for my child's mindset. And therefore, they are learning that is just how to respond to things, that you should assume the worst of people, that you don't need to offer the benefit of the doubt, that if someone said something wrong, they probably meant to hurt you. They probably meant to be rude. They probably really did notice you and did it on purpose, right? Those types of mindsets can often be really contagious. So if you're around someone who's always getting butthurt, who's always taking offense, who's always making it about them, who's a bit of a drama queen, who's a bit of a magnet for all that drama, then you're likely to start amping up the drama in your own life too. If our children are witnessing us and we are drama, we are overly emotional. We're on a roller coaster of emotions all the time. We have a lot of volatility or hostility, or we find it hard to offer the benefit of the doubt. They're going to emulate that. They are also going to have drama with their friends, drama with us, drama with their siblings, drama with their dads, etc. So the first step is definitely the hardest. You probably want to just throw something at the screen and switch this off right now, because no one wants to go on that journey of self-growth and self-development to become unoffendable. But becoming cool as a cucumber, becoming collected, becoming unvictimized, becoming unshakable, these are the steps that we need to take in order to model unoffendability. Our child needs to see us being slighted by someone, being cut off by someone, receiving a snarky text message, being a bit snubbed, being left out, and us being okay, us being calm, us being emotionally stable. One of my goals that I hold in my own personal life is to build towards emotional stability. It doesn't come naturally to me. I used to be on emotional roller coasters, maybe throughout the month, hormonal cycles, or just in response to stimuli on the outside world, the news, my friends, what he said, what she said. I used to feel at the mercy of just current affairs in my own life. And whatever next text message I was going to get was going to throw me into some kind of emotional spiral. But learning to find emotional stability, which is something I teach inside of the studio, has been the biggest gift I could give myself and my children, because it offers that secure base, that grounded feeling from which you can handle life's challenges. Kind of like a tennis player who is sturdy on their feet and they can respond really fluidly, right? Really expertly to whatever's coming at them. They could be a lot more precise, a lot more accurate, a lot more in control, and even have a smile on their face because they have that type of stability. Make sure to slam that like button. And if you're not subscribed yet, what are you waiting for? Make sure you subscribe. So we've got the really hard one out of the way, becoming unoffendable yourself. Now let's talk about how to respond to our children taking offense. Say my child is crying, they're insulted, they were hurt by something, and now I need to respond. Well, in the gentle, peaceful, conscious, etc. parenting sphere, the massive focus is always and exclusively on empathy. And I want to say, yeah, empathy is important. We want to empathize with our child. We want them to know that we are a soft landing, that we are a shoulder to cry on, that we care about their pain, that we see them, that we hear them, that we're here for them. So yes to empathy. Definitely you should care that your child got hurt. But the problem that many of us kind of run into is that we get stuck there. We only care about their feelings. Oh no, poor you. And we hold a little pity party for them, but we never get to the point where we are coaching them. In fact, inside the studio, we spend a whole month learning about how to coach a child's mindset. Because if you stay stuck in the pity party, you are communicating to your child, oh, the world is so unfair. Life is so tough. Other people are such losers. They suck. That person was such an a-hole to you. You deserve, a free ride. You deserve just empathy. You deserve not to have any expectations put on you. You don't need to self-reflect or think what you brought to the table or how you contributed to the situation. Poor you. And that comes from a loving place. Like we intend that with, we have good intentions is what I'm trying to say. We intend that to be felt and experienced by our child as love, right? We want them to feel loved. But the really insidious and dangerous message when we stay stuck in empathy is that we don't ever teach them personal responsibility and accountability. We don't teach them to ask themselves, am I overreacting? Did I also do something to instigate this interaction? Do I have some responsibility here? Could I have done things differently? Am I maybe misinterpreting? Did I even understand? Did I even hear it right? All of these kind of self-reflective questions and asking ourselves, hey, maybe I was also not kind to them. Maybe I initiated this, in fact. Maybe I'm actually to blame, right? And this isn't about victim blaming and it's not about shame or guilt. It's about personal responsibility and accountability and understanding that when someone hurts you in some way, often there's been a back and forth. Maybe there was a lead up. Maybe you opened the gates to that in some way. Maybe you're overreacting or misinterpreting. And those are important things to ask. So you start with empathy, but you don't end there. You then ask your child some open-ended, probing questions, but they're supportive. They're coming from a place of love, but they're trying to help your child avoid this situation in the future, right? By learning a lesson from it, something. Maybe were you teasing your friend and that maybe led them to say that about you? Do you ever spread rumors as well? What do you think they were trying to say? Do you think maybe you misheard? Do you think maybe you misinterpreted? I wonder what was going on for them that they behaved this way. Can we exercise some empathy towards them as well? Maybe they're going through something very difficult and they've taken it out on you, but you don't need to take it personally. Right? We want to coach them through the cognitive fallacies, like personalizing something that wasn't about you, like blowing something out of proportion and catastrophizing, like black and white thinking, saying it's all their fault and not my fault at all, or they meant to hurt me and not maybe something else was going on, and offering the benefit of the doubt. The third one is to try and teach our children just not to take things all that seriously, not to take other people's words all that seriously, not to take themselves all that seriously, to develop a sense of humor and a lightness. This is about offering the benefit of the doubt, sure, but it's also about just realizing that people sometimes blab at the mouth. That's what I call it, right? People sometimes just say things. People sometimes just let their subconscious kind of, vomit out. People sometimes have just a stream of consciousness and they say things and behave in ways that don't reflect what they really believe or what they really want or what they really mean. Someone might grab my spot or look at me in a way that wasn't actually related to trying to hurt me. It wasn't actually related to trying to criticize me. It said more about them than about me, or it was really just in a state of not being very conscious of themselves, not trying to be rude or hurtful, but just because it came out the wrong way. It was awkward. It was a misspeaking, for example. And I just want my children to learn not to cling on to things and not to take things so seriously, so heavily. People just blab at the mouth. And the truth is, one of the best ways of learning this is noticing that you sometimes do it too. And I kind of try to remind my children that sometimes they just sing an offensive song or say something mean to a sibling or take something that wasn't theirs or sit in a spot that someone else was sitting in. They do it too. Like, we all do it. We all can sometimes be inconsiderate or thoughtless or unaware of ourselves. And it's just important to take a step back, take a deep breath, and not take ourselves so seriously. And number 4, and this is definitely my favorite thing and one of the most important things I think to teach a child, is if someone says something about them, they need to ask themselves 2 key questions. Okay, so I'll illustrate this with an example. If, say, my son tells my daughter, "You're dumb," okay, he's upset, he's annoyed, "You're dumb." So first of all, maybe I've tried to model being unoffendable myself. I've tried to teach them to question themselves and offer the benefit of the doubt. Maybe he didn't mean it. Maybe she misheard it. Maybe I called him dumb first and he was just calling me dumb back. Maybe he was just really triggered and just blabbing at the mouth. But of course, he doesn't really think I'm dumb. Okay. But now we get to the place where she's still crying and she's saying, "No, he really called me dumb. He really thinks I'm dumb." And here's the place where I teach her to ask 2 questions. Number 1, is it true? Honey, do you agree? Do you also think that you are dumb? Do you have evidence to support his claim? I mean, in some ways, we're all dumb. In some ways, we're all smart. Do you think that you are dumb? Do you think that's a fair accusation? Do you think it's true? Okay. Now, why is this important? Because people can throw all sorts of things our way, but unless we actually agree with them, we don't necessarily even need to contend with them. Someone can say something to you, but you might say, "I disagree." Like, someone might say you're a bad mom, or you're irresponsible with money, or your cooking's not good, or your house isn't clean enough, or whatever. And it might really offend you. But if it's not even true in your opinion, if you don't even agree with them, then you can just say, "Well, I guess I see it differently. We can agree to disagree." And I don't need to respect and honor everyone's opinions about everything. So is it true matters? Because if it's not true, I can kind of ignore it. And the second important question to ask is there anything I can do about it? Say I am dumb, say I am ugly, is there anything I can do about it? Is this something I can even change? Because if not, then I can just let it go. If it isn't true, or if I can't do anything about it, then this is something that I can't spend my energy on and I can't engage with. And that's something I want to teach my children. That just because someone says it, doesn't make it true. And even if it is true, doesn't make it something that's viable, useful, interesting critique. Now, if it is true and there is something I can do about it, then hey, that's kind of useful to know. If it is true that I'm being selfish and there is something I can do about it, then this is a good place for me to grow and change and accept the feedback. Even if it wasn't dealt out in the most polite and pleasant way, I can look at it unemotionally, objectively, and ask myself, hey, it is true and there is something I can do about it. I don't like how they said it. That's still a bit offensive, but I'm not going to be offendable. I'm just going to take the feedback. Because that's a win. That's constructive criticism. That's useful. If someone says something to me that is true and I can do something about it, then it might actually be useful to me for bettering myself and for self-development and growth. Now, I want to hear from you. Are you on a journey to become unoffendable? Do you value people who are cool, calm, and collected? Do you value that kind of self-confidence and calm that comes with being unshaken, unvictimized, unoffendable in the world? And is that something you want to teach your children? If so, let me know in the comments below what was your key takeaway from this video, and let me know what you'd like me to address next. And make sure to share this with anyone who you think might find it useful. Use it to start a conversation in your home about being offended, about offendability, and about victim mindset or cognitive fallacies. And if you have any pushback or resistance to this, I'd be really happy to contend with it. Just let me know respectfully in the comments below. I'll see you in the next video. Keep on living that high fam life. Bye.